Hey, folks, this is Richard Young with the Kentucky Headhunters, and you're having lunch with Doug.
Welcome back to another great episode of Lunch with Doug. I'm your host, Dangerous Doug Harper. Today's episode is Richard Young from the Kentucky Headhunters band. We'll be talking to him on the phone today on the show about a number of exciting things going on with his band and some other bands and some shows coming up in the area. And it's just a good time. We're going to talk to him about all that coming up on Lunch with Doug. Today's episode made possible by the Nana Marie's, 121 North Main Street in Nevada, Missouri, Bell's Boutique and the second edition shop, 500 East Cherry Street in Nevada, Missouri, Harry Frog Graphics at 115 North Commercial Street in Nevada, Missouri, Andrew D. McNair at the Art Shop, 104 East Cherry Street in Nevada, Missouri, or andrewdmcnair.com. The Zone Nutrition at 14180 East US Highway 54 in Nevada, Missouri. They are next to Mr. D's. And J&R Home Store, 118 West Walnut, Nevada, Missouri, as well as Woodshed Music, 129 North Main in downtown Nevada, Missouri. And then, of course, I can't not mention our friend now, Richard Young, from Kentucky Headhunters, of course, making the interview possible today. So we'll be back. We'll be talking with Richard right after this here on Lunch with Doug. Thank you for spending your lunchtime with me.
Dangerous Doug Harper back with you on Lunch with Doug, and as promised today, I have the man, the myth, the legend, Richard Young from Kentucky Headhunters on the phone with me. How are you today, Richard?
Doug, I'm running like something crazy, getting ready trying to get everything done here at home and all the dates ready and everything. We leave out tomorrow night to go on the road. You know, it's actually the start of touring season right now, so here we go.
Yeah, it's fantastic. I saw on your Facebook page you guys had announced several dates. You guys are kind of, getting back in it. Things have, I think, probably in your world as well as most people's world, the COVID thing's kind of a little under control now. So more touring's happening and stuff. And I saw you guys got over like 100 shares on that thing like immediately announcing those dates. And one of those dates is coming right up. You guys are going to be with Marshall Tucker Band. Is that right?
Yeah, we leave tomorrow night, and then Friday night we play with Doug and the guys and Marshall Tucker, Doug Ray and them, and we're looking always great to play with those guys. And then the next night we're actually driving 11 and a half hours to North Carolina to play a private event for someone. We don't normally do private events, but it's for some kind of a corporation that make sure we all get our internet clearly. So we don't want to mess with that,
Got to be friends with those guys.
Yeah. And then we're back, come back then Sunday night. We're at Greenville, Tennessee at the theater, and I'm really looking forward to that because when the lady called us, they were getting us some hotels, and she said, "Well, you're going to stay at the John Morgan Inn, which is really famous." And I said, "As in John Hunt Morgan, the Civil War general?" And she goes, "Yeah, how did you know?" And I said, "Well, he was from Kentucky." And so I'm really looking forward. They're going to open the museum. It'll be closed Sunday, but I get to go through the museum down there, which is very exciting because actually he actually lost his life in that right there in that town in a battle skirmish, and so it'll be very interesting because I've been to his home several times in Kentucky and visited it. In the northeast part of Kentucky. So it's going to be a great weekend. We've got, the next weekend we did head to Colorado Springs, Colorado, then down to Abilene, Texas, then back up to Arkansas, and it just keeps going and going and going from there on. One I'm looking forward to this year is us and Hank Williams Jr. are going to play a show together. We have not played together for 30 years. And, yeah, pretty crazy stuff. The last time we played was outside Chicago. It was us and Leonard Skinner, Hank, and Jackal. What a lineup.
Oh, what a lineup, yeah.
Yeah. Well, we actually, in 1990, when our first album, Picking on Nashville, came out, we didn't make it 2 weeks out on the road on our own. Hank's people called, and Hank, and they they said, we got to have you guys out opening the shows for us. So we went out and did 57 shows in a little bit over a year. And it was a really, really great time for us. And it put us in front of tens of thousands of people every night, you know. And so that really helped get the Headhunters, you know, a good jump start going. And it was funny because we were traveling at the time in an SUV and pulling the trailer, and we knew we had to have a bus to keep up. So this guy that was doing our road manager showed up for the first Hank date, and he had a bus that said PCB on the side of it. And come to find out, it was Elvis's last bus he bought. And
oh,
wow. we wound up buying it. So for like a year and a half, we rode around in Elvis's bus, and it was a pretty cool thing, you know, to have. I'll be honest with you though, it rode like a road wagon. It was rough as a cob. It was like 76, 77 MCI, and it was you know, an older bus, and but we had a great time. We completely restored it on the outside and made it look good. And the biggest mistake we made is we put, if you've ever seen our logo, it's sometimes it's in fluorescent orange and black, and we put it on the back of the bus. So every time a trailer truck would pass us that had been hearing our music on the radio or bought our album, they just sat down on the horn and hold it till they went by. And so we never could get any sleep because, you know, that big truck horn blowing all the way up the side of that bus passing us.
Oh, wow. Yeah. Every time, right? Yeah.
Yeah, but we've been very fortunate. I have to say we've lived a charmed life. We, you know, Fred and I, the band actually started out in 1968. We were called Itchy Brother, and after the old Bongo Congo cartoon. And so we were driving our parents crazy practicing in the house, in the living room actually. And my grandmother had just bought an extra 100 acres and added on to our farm down in, you know, on Beaver Creek. And it had this quaint old clapboard house down there sitting almost on the creek. And my grandmother didn't want to rent it out. People wanted to rent it. So she got the bright idea to let her grandsons and their two cousins move in the house. And that was 1968. And we still use that house today. And then my son started a band in 2001, and they wanted to move into the house and start rehearsing. And have you ever heard the band Blackstone Cherry?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, that's my son's. Band. Yeah, that's my son's band, and he's the drummer and I guess a spokes guy or something in the band. But anyway, all those kids grew up kind of like us, just, you know, around each other all the time. They went to school together, and we got them going and you know, sent them over to Europe, and they exploded over there in the UK and mainland Europe, and they do quite well in America too. But they're the catch me out overseas, and so we've got them, and now we got this up 4 years ago. I actually found we were playing a show there at a big fairgrounds, and this band was opening for us, and I had the window open kind of on the bus, and you know, I was sitting back there working on the computers and the phone, you know, booking dates or whatever, and the music kicked in, and I remember saying to myself, "Well, we might want to turn the steam up a little bit tonight. These guys are good." And then this kid opened his mouth, and I just threw down what I was doing and went and sat and watched the whole set. And I asked him after the show was over. I asked him. I said, "Well, what are you guys going to do with this?" And they said, "Oh, we're going to be lifers, just like y'all in Blackstone Cherry." And I'm like the Headhunters in Blackstone Cherry, of course. And I said, "Okay, well, get it together and come up to Kentucky, and we'll make an album and see what we can make out of it." And I didn't figure I would ever find another band that I wanted to help, you know, that much, as much as I did Blackstone Cherry. But these kids are such sweet guys, and they really are genuine. I literally, when I found them, I felt like I'd uncovered a time capsule from Georgia from 1972. they were the real deal, you know. I mean, a lot of people are pretend to be a Southern rock band. These guys, they got it under their fingernails, man. It's real. And so with their album is out now, and they're called the Georgia Thunderbolts, and we just sent a single out to radio this week. So everybody's all happy and excited about that. So, and it's good for me too to have, you know, to be able to help Blackstone Cherry and the Georgia Thunderbolts, as well as work with my band, the Kentucky Headhunters. So it's a full-size job, I will tell you that, though.
Yeah, I bet. Now you're the Georgia Thunderbolts. You're the manager, basically, huh?
Yeah, I manage the band and produce their records as well.
Well, fantastic. Now you record them there on the farm, or you
no?
Somewhere?
We have a studio that we've been using for 15 years. We actually live. If everybody knows where Bowling Green, Kentucky is, where Western Kentucky University and then the Corvette Museum and Corvette plant are. And that's Bowling Green, and we live about 40 miles east of there, right off Cumberland Parkway, which is an interstate that travels through southern Kentucky. And you know, we use this studio. David Barrick, he's been recording. You know, I remember when he was just a little boy, he'd run around with a microphone and a little tape recorder, you know, recording bands, and so he's a great engineer. Really understands, has a great ability to get great drum sounds and the guitar sounds. And just, you know, we've been working together, and we kind of got a 1-2 punch between he and I, because we mix most of the records, and we kind of almost know what the other one's thinking at this point, you know. So it really works out well. So I'd say we've been working, I guess, maybe for 25 years, I guess, I should say that long, because first 3 albums, and then the Johnny Johnson album that we did with Chuck Berry's pianist, they were done in Nashville at the Sound Shop, which sadly it's one of those things that got torn down so they could build a apartment complex downtown Nashville. So, but it's a historic studio down there. You know, Ringo recorded there, Paul McCartney, Neil Young, not just of local country acts, but a lot of bigger rock acts too.
Mm-hmm. Now you guys got a new album out. The Headhunters have a new album out, right?
We do. We're very proud of it. You were speaking of this COVID mess a while ago. You know, Doug, in 2020, we had tons of shows to play, and all of a sudden, COVID hit, and everything started either shifting to 2021, the dates, or they were canceled. And we wound up playing 8 or 10 shows in 2020, and then most of those shows didn't cancel. They moved to last year. And so we, you know, we thought, okay, we'll rough it out this year, and then the first of the year we'll be back at it. Well, February and March we had tons of dates to play, which is highly unusual. That's not quite, that's the edge of the touring season starting. And so all of a sudden these dates started moving, and they were moving to later in the fall because of, you know, the COVID restrictions were still up. Mm-hmm. And we just kind of looked at each other and said, oh man, look, we got to be a band. And, you know, other than getting together in 2020 playing those shows, we hadn't even seen each other because we were all, you know, cooped up, peeping out the blinds at home over this stuff. And so we went in the studio last February, and we're there about 3 weeks. And the thing that's great about this new album is, you know, everybody always says, well, you know, this is the best album we've ever made. And I never say that, and I won't say that about this record, but what I've noticed about this album, and people are catching on to it, it seems to have the biggest heart of any album that we've ever done, because we had all been through so much together. Now, I'm not speaking of just a band. I'm speaking about everybody in the world dealing with all this. And then, of course, America had another pain in the butt situation going on, you know, that year with election and whatever. And so it was a dramatic time. And, you know, we got together in the studio, and we couldn't get together to rehearse or write on anything. So everybody was working on notes at home. And we got in there and said, okay, we're going to do it differently. We're going to, instead of just Doug and I singing all the songs, everybody bring in some songs they want to sing. The whole band. Let's do it like the Beatles used to do it when George and Ringo sang too, you know. And man, it just had a special. I don't know how to say it. We were just so glad to be together, you know. I mean, we love it anytime we're together, but it was very special in that studio, and you know, to hear my brother singing, and Fred actually brought a song in called "Cup of Tea" because we, you know, we never would. Go to Europe because I wouldn't fly. And so my son's band being huge over there, they kept coming home saying, Dad, you got to get over there, okay? Mm-hmm. You got to go. Said, you got a whole other life waiting for you. People ask us, you know, all the time, when's your dad's band coming? And we have to say never because he won't fly. And so anyway, it was one of those things, Doug, where you go, you know, if I say yes to this, maybe it'll go away. Instead of just keeping saying no. And unfortunately, it didn't work out that time. They called about a week later and they had us on a show in Sweden called Sweden Rocks. And it encompasses all the Scandinavian countries. It's a huge festival. And they got us on it. And actually, Queen was the headliner that day. And, you know, of course, I mean, we played, of course, 3 bands down from Queen. But the thing of it is, there was still 30,000 people there when we played, you know, at 5:30 in the afternoon. So we got to introduce ourselves to all live-wise to all Scandinavian countries at one time. And had a great time. I made it fine on the airplane back. And when I got to Denmark heading home, we were going to go to Atlanta and then catch the bus back up to Kentucky, my son called and said, Dad, we're going to headline this festival called the Ramming Man Fair, which is it's not like a county fair. It's a big outdoor rock festival. And we want y'all to come over and play it, be one of the bands that open for us. So I'm thinking, oh my God, I ain't even got home yet. Now I'm going to have to you know, get on a plane again. But we decided if we were going to go over to the UK, that we were going to go ahead and play several shows, just not play the one and fly back. And we wound up doing 8 shows and just had a wonderful time. And my son was right, you know, the people were there to see us, you know. I mean, it was a good feeling the first date. We actually got off the plane in London and we went to the gig in downtown London, and people were already lined up at the door waiting to get in. And so it was good. We hadn't even set our equipment up yet, you know.
They've been waiting a while for this.
Yeah, I mean, you know, all their lives, you know, for us to get there, they weren't going to miss it. And but we've been over 2 other times since then, and just had a wonderful time. The last time we went, we did a triple bill. Was us and Dan Baird from Satellite's new band, Homemade Sin, and also Jason and the Scorchers. And that was such a triple lineup, boy. It was just three bands were really good together. And we did 8 shows that trip and just had so much fun hanging out and being together.
What's this new album called?
That's a fact, Jack. And that's an old saying my dad used to use years ago about things when he was meant to get a point across. And we just thought that would be appropriate. And there's also a title track that I'd written on the album called That's a Fact, Jack, which is the heaviest song on the record. And then, you know, we got that on there. Actually, Fred sang a version of Rick Derringer's Cheap Tequila, which I really love the way he did it. It's kind of like you can imagine the Headhunters with Ian Anderson singing with us from Jethro Tull. Pretty cool, actually.
It sounds cool.
Yeah, and then we also, when we were Itchy Brother, you know, from 68 to 85, and then we morphed into the Kentucky Headhunters with additional members.
Right.
We actually did the first single we ever put out with Itchy Brother was a song called Shotgun Effie, and Greg, our cousin and guitar player, wrote the lyrics to it about our grandma, the one that gave us the old house, because she was somewhat of a character around here, Doug. She farmed 1,300 acres, and with, of course, not by herself, but the families and that sort of thing. But she did that. She got electricity ran into this area, telephones, blacktop highways. She was a mover and a shaker, man. Shotgun Effie. But we just, the whole album's just got some great stuff. Doug brought in a great song that we put together, kind of a ballad song called Susanna, which is about, the poor women that get, maybe they're lucky, the women that stay at home when all these men are out here trying to make a living playing their instruments on the road. It's a really cool song.
Yeah.
But it's just a great album, and I'd love for people to hear it. And, if you've never owned a Kentucky Headhunters album, get this one because, as I said, it's got the biggest heart, and it was put together at a time that everybody's going through a lot of trials and tribulations around the world. And it shows that in the album, but it also shows the big heart I'm talking about.
Sure. Now, this is kind of a strange question because everything's changed, now. Is it available? Are you guys on like the Spotify's, or are you on CD, on record? Where?
Yeah, Amazon. Yeah. You can buy a hard copy if you have a good. There's not much of such a thing anymore. Unfortunately, it's hard to find a good music record store anymore. Mm-hmm. A lot of people are local. We're lucky. We have one in Bowling Green, Kentucky, called not Magic Sands. What is it? Well, I'll think of that in a minute. This COVID thing has still got me thinking crazy too. But there's a store in Bowling Green that we have that we go there, and they carry used records and Mellow Maps. That's the name of it. I knew it'd come to me. But we go there to buy. If our old Beatles CDs get scratched up or albums, we go buy them there because he has good used supply of all kinds of records, Led Zeppelin albums, whatever. And he also carries new records. So, and there's a lot of stores. If you search around you can find. I'm not a huge fan of ordering an album online to be put on an iPod. I gotta have the cover, and I gotta look and see, who engineered it, who played on it, different things about it, who wrote the songs, all that stuff. And it was a thing that was as much interesting as the music when you would, back in the day, in the 70s when we were buying LPs, we couldn't wait. We put the album on a turntable, and as we listened, we'd read the credits and look at the pictures, Some of them had fold-out posters, that sort of thing. So it was just a really, really great time, for music in the 70s. We grew up in that era. From 60s, in the mid-60s up to, when it kind of went to south. The CDs, that everybody, CDs I can handle actually. I've got a 2018 pickup, that I use as my office, and I have a 2011, and they both have CD players in them. And I kind of use that as where we mix our songs. I go out to my truck and listen to them. And the guys were showing me a new truck the other day over at the car lot. And said, Richard, you ought to just trade this thing in and get this one. I said, nope, it ain't got a CD player in it, man. It's useless to me. I mean, I use the truck on the farm, too, for things. But I have to have that, man. That's my little escape to get in my truck by myself and, have a couple of beers and sit there and listen to things we're doing, our mixes, listen to other bands' music. I love listening to, I don't listen to a whole lot of radio, but I have Sirius XM, and I like listening to the 40s channel. And, of course, our friend Hillbilly Jim is on Outlaw Country, and he spends us a whole lot. And then, we're on the B.B. King's Bluesville channel a lot. But I really enjoy that, and it's my escape, to get away by myself and just do that, and it clears my head. But we need to bring back CD players.
Mhm. Yeah, I like the CD format a lot, and even when I was younger, I was in that move when it went from basically cassettes to CDs, and I was kind of hesitant to move to the CD format. But then looking back on it, I think it's one of the ones I like the best.
Yeah, I do too. I'll tell you an interesting story. Let's see, when we first came out, our first album came out, the cassette was still available.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we sold our first 1 million records, then they wanted to give us a plaque for it, and they were going to put a CD and a cassette on it. And I said, no way, man. We've been waiting 20-something years to get a gold record, and you're going to give us one without the plaque? So we were actually the last, well, it was platinum, of course, that time, and then we were the last person to get an LP in their award for record sales.
Oh, wow.
At Mercury Records. I guess maybe everywhere, because nobody else really probably fussed about it, but it was important to us because, we'd seen those gold records hanging on people's walls, and to us, just having a cassette in there and a CD wasn't the same. I mean, over the years, we've gotten them, like that, and then, of course, I worked early with Blackstone Cherry, have some of those, and then hopefully we're going to see something like that from the Georgia Thunderbolts.
Yeah, exciting. Yeah, exactly.
It is. It really is. I love working with young people. Now, let me ask you a question, Doug. Exactly what part of Missouri are you located in?
We are 60 miles north of Joplin, 100 miles south of Kansas City. So we're on the
right in the middle of some hopping going on.
Yeah, we're 2 hours from Branson. So we get a lot of people coming through on their way to Branson and stuff. And,
yeah. Hey, how close are you guys? We're going to be in Black Oak, at the Black Oak Amphitheater.
Oh, Black Oak Amphitheater.
Do you know where that is?
I know it's not far from here.
No, it's not. We're going to be there. On our website, everybody, and check it out, because we're going to be there. And actually, the Georgia Thunderbolts are going to be with us. And there's a Missouri band that I actually produced their EP for them called the Comancheros. And they're going to be there. And you should get those guys on your show sometime, man. They're really good. And they're playing a lot. They're playing with different people, Blackberry Smoke, doing the same stuff the Thunderbolts are doing. Exactly. And they're like a three-piece. They're very unusual. They make their own clothes for stage. And I know when I was doing this EP for him, I was mixing it with David, and I looked around, and this guy's sitting there with a needle and thread sewing some clothes, and I'm like, wow. And so they make their own things, and it's kind of like their music is kind of like, if you could imagine if ZZ Top was on a Star Wars movie. It is. I mean, it really is. The music itself.
What a description.
Yeah, the look of it anyway, But they're a great bunch of guys too, man. So, in my age, a lot of people ask me sometimes to get involved and maybe help them do an album, that sort of thing. And I don't have a lot of time, but if they're really nice people and they get along well and have a good time, it's a fun time for me. So I try to do it when I can,
For sure.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's exciting. I'll definitely reach out to him and get him on the show, and maybe we can get Georgia Thunderbolts on the show sometime.
Oh, you should, man. Exactly. You should. They're be good. Maybe we can get Blackstone Cherry on there.
Hey, that'd be awesome for sure.
Yeah, we do it. They're awful good boys, and they left out the night before last. I think them and they're playing in Chicago last night, and then St. Louis maybe. I think they might be in Missouri tonight, St. Louis. I don't know whether it's them. I know they got some dates with Hailstorm and the Stone Temple Pilots, but I think that's in a couple of weeks. But if I'm not mistaken, they may be in St. Louis tonight.
They are. Blackstone Cherry, I know, is coming up. They're actually going to be, and this was good for our listeners, they're going to be at the end of April. They're going to be playing in Springfield at the Outline Ballroom. They are.
They sure are.
And that's a fantastic venue. Fantastic venue.
And the funny part is the Georgia Thunderbolts may be with them on that date.
Oh, really?
So you get a double header there. You get to hear both of them at the same
I
time.
was gonna try to make that show. I got wrote on my calendar. I'm gonna try just because basically Outland Ballroom is a long running venue that's just, I mean, everybody's played there through the times, you know, because it's a college town. Springfield's about 150,000 people now. It is just a great town. It's right downtown. And it just, every show you go see there at the Outland Ballroom there, it's fantastic because there's not a bad place to be in the room, you know.
Yeah, it's just a good sounding room.
Big room, and they'll be slam packed, you know, they're always sold out shows, and it's just awesome.
I love playing those old theaters. Man, they've got a look to them, and they've got the best, in lots of cases, best sound, you know. Man, I got to get ready to do a Zoom call here over in the UK in about 6 minutes.
All right.
So I guess I better jump, and you holler at Doug. I've really enjoyed being on with you, and hello to everyone out there. You know, be sure and check out all those other bands I was talking about, and God love you. And go get the album. That's a fact, Jack, because it is. Yeah. Okay, Doug. Thanks a million, man.
What a fantastic day we've had on Lunch with Doug. Want to thank Richard again for talking with us on the phone about all of his projects he's working with, the different bands and things, and of course what's happening with the Kentucky Headhunters and their new album and everything. Just exciting stuff. And real pleased to have him on the show today. Now I'm going to touch base real quick before I close out. I'm going to make it quick here, but I wanted to touch base on the two shows we were talking about. The Blackstone Cherry will be performing April 26th at the Outland Ballroom. That's at 7 p.m. Their website lists with Aaron Jones. Again, that Outland is in Springfield, Missouri, and that's April 26th. From the BlackstoneCherry.com website I'm looking at, says Outland with Aaron Jones. So I don't know if there's a third band, but it sounds like I'm sure Richard knows some inside to that, so that may or may not have those other guys there. But that would be awesome. Now the other show is at it's at the Ozark Mountain Rumble Rally Day 2, the second day of a 2-day deal they've got going on down there at the Black Oak Amphitheater, which is in Lamp, Missouri, which is about an hour and a half from Nevada, here where I'm at. But and that day does have the Georgia Thunderbolts on there as well with the Kentucky Headhunters, and then the Comancheros are there as well, and also a band from Fayetteville called Green Acres. So that's going to be a fantastic day. Free parking is available on site as well. So that's a 2-day event, and you can get 2-day tickets for both days of that. And I won't go into details with the other day, but I'll give you the website. You can check out blackoakamp.com, and that'll get you to the amphitheater's website, and you can read all about both shows and everything and get tickets if you want for that. So those are those details. And I'll check out here, guys. Thanks for spending your lunchtime with me. Today's episode was made possible by Nana Marie's at 121 North Main in Nevada, Missouri. Bell's Boutique and the Second Edition Shop, 500 East Cherry Street in Nevada, Missouri. Harry Frog Graphics, 150 North Commercial Street in Nevada, Missouri. Andrew D. McNair at the Art Shop, 104 East Cherry Street, or andrewdmcnair.com. Zone Nutrition, 14180 East US Highway 54, next to Mr. D's in Nevada, Missouri. J&R Home Store, 118 West Walnut, Nevada, Missouri. And the Woodshed Music at 120-9 North Main Street in Nevada, Missouri. And again, I couldn't be possible without Richard from the Kentucky Headhunters. Thanks again, Richard, for being on the show, and just good rocking to you out there. And hopefully we'll see you in concert very soon.